My neighbor stole my packages. Then one package changed everything. For months, packages kept disappearing from my front porch. At first, I blamed delivery drivers. Then, I installed a camera. 3 days later, I finally saw the thief. It was my neighbor. He'd wait until the delivery driver left, walk over, pick up my package, and take it inside his house. I reported him to the police. They told me to document everything, so I did. Every theft, every date, every package. I eventually had enough evidence to prove what he'd been doing. But before I could take it further, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, a delivery driver left a package at my door. My neighbor came outside. He looked around. Then he picked it up. But this time, the box was addressed to him. The driver had accidentally delivered it to my house. My neighbor stood there holding his own package. I opened my door. He looked embarrassed. I said, "Looks like you finally got your delivery." He stared at me. Then he handed it back. "I'm sorry." It was the first time he'd ever apologized. He explained that he'd been stealing because he'd lost his job and was struggling financially. I told him I understood being desperate, but stealing wasn't the answer. He nodded, and he asked if I knew of any work. Coincidentally, I owned a small business and needed someone for basic warehouse work. I gave him an interview. He got the job. For the next year, he worked incredibly hard. He eventually paid back the value of everything he'd stolen. We never became best friends, but we became good neighbors. He even started collecting packages for elderly people on our street so they wouldn't be left outside. Sometimes people need consequences, but sometimes they also need one opportunity to prove they can change. The important part is knowing the difference.